And here to kick things off on this Thursday morning, it's our friend, the comedy legend. It is Killer Beaz. Mr. Beaz, good morning.
Brother.
Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you. Comedy legend.
Comedy legend.
That means I'm old enough for Social Security.
You are, and then some, right?
And Medicare.
We're not going to go into detail on the age, but you just had a birthday, November
10th.
November 10th. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you very much, brother.
You
Thank
feel older or younger?
I do not. I'm just glad to be around, dude. It is such a treat and a blessing to get to do what I do.
And you are around everywhere. If you're not doing comedy, you're doing guitar. If you're not doing guitar, you're doing Moonshiners. This is season number, what, 8 for you?
Number 14
on that.
for the show, number 9 for me.
9, wow.
And so, and I got to put this out there, we're very active in our church. My wife and I, we do a lot of outreach when we're at home and all we can do when we're at home, because we're very blessed, dude, and we realize it.
Sure.
So so that's cool. But now I have found out, and I'll share this with you because we're dear friends, I've got to have a bunch of moles removed. So
from your body or from your yard?
No, they're in the yard.
Okay, that's
good.
Yeah,
they're on each side of the house.
Right.
And so I was researching moles because I figured I need to off them because it's an invasion. But I learned that moles, their number one food source is subterranean termites. And we live in South Alabama where the Formosan termites are everywhere there. So when I found that out, I said, you know what, I think I'll let these moles hang for a while because we have bad termite problems in that area just because of the soil and the moisture content and all that. So, but it's been cool trying to think up ways to get rid of them. That's been fun.
All you need to know about getting rid of moles is rewind some of the old Warner Brothers cartoons from years and years ago. That'll tell you pretty much everything you need to know.
Well, I'm curious to see if you whack a mole with a frying pan, if his face takes that shape like it does on the cartoons. So
what are you going to be doing at the Comedy Catch this weekend? You got one show tonight, and you're doing
2 Friday and 2 Saturday, so a total of 5 shows. And proudly, I have a bunch of new material.
Really?
So that's been a lot of fun, yeah. So
I wanted to ask you, without going into any sort of explicit detail, where do you draw upon your source for new material?
Generally, it's just things that happen to me, experiences. We'll be talking about my flamethrower that I took to Bible class on Wednesday night. And we will talk about my first ever visit to a women's prison.
Really?
And just stuff like Moonshiners. We're going to talk about what's going on currently with that. So it's stuff that happens to me or I see happen that I'm able to describe in what I hope is entertaining manners. So that's what we're doing.
I've never seen you and not been entertained. Someone who hasn't seen you before and they're thinking, well, I could go here or I could go see Killer Beaz. What's the convincing switch to make them go see you?
Well,
how do you describe your comedy, in other words?
I am a storyteller with lots of punchlines in there, and I love surprise endings to stories. I was always an O. Henry fan when I was growing up reading a lot, and he had that twist at the end of a lot of his stuff. So it's a clean show. It's not an offensive show. Now, I used to work Blue in old timey days in my 43rd year of doing stand-up now, but we do a clean show, and I just believe that the comics who say if you're not offending people, you're not doing your job, I think they are absolutely wrong. I think if God gives somebody the talent, the gift of levity, and I have an opportunity to lift people up an hour at a time, I don't think I need to take cheap shots or do put down material. So we try to keep it all positive and all happy. And when I do make fun of someone, it's me. So
it seems like those comedians who continually push the envelope, they're just trying to stay relevant in today's society.
And that may be true, although I am not going to judge them, you know, but what works for me is to be kind to people and to be funny. And if I do pick at somebody, it's a good-natured way. It's not at all put downs or shaming people or anything like that.
It's admirable how your comedy style has changed, and again, going back years and years and years. I remember some of the more
risque.
Yeah, risque is a good way to put it.
Well, the newer you are in this industry, the harder it is to get response from an audience. And when you're new, you have to go for shock value, so just so you can get something back from them. But as you mature and hopefully get more skilled at the craft, you do not have to go there anymore, and there's just integrity involved. You know, you can bring Nana to the show because it's not going to be an offensive type show. So that's what we're about this day and age.
You ever run into some of the other folks on the comedy road that go, Beaz, what happened to you from the comedian you were 15 years ago? What
When
do you
I
tell
see people on the road now, they go, dude, you look different. There's an aura about you. I'm happy now. I don't drink anymore. I'm not into substance abuse. I'm into being thankful that God has given me these opportunities. That's what they say. They don't go, because the show's bad to the bone. Nobody ever complains that a show wasn't dirty enough if it's funny enough. But just my persona and the way I conduct myself now, the guys that I worked with back in the day, they see that and they say something about it. They go, Beaz, this is awesome, look at you.
You do seem happier. You seem more at ease in your own skin.
There's joy and there's peace when you're living right. I give it to God. I've told you that before,
yeah,
man.
You have. You have.
So, but with that being said, we crush on stage, dude.
There's no question. There is no question about it. And you can find out more about how to get in touch with Beaz and find out maybe a little bit more about your spiritual journey. Is that safe to say?
Yes. Yes.
And you're happy to share that with folks, right?
I'm compelled to share that. We're supposed to.
Yeah, we are. You're right.
Tell them why you're happy. Tell them why things are going good for you, because there's people who need to hear it.
Was there a defining event that turned you from the old Killer Beaz into the man you are now? Was there one specific
We
thing?
walked into a new church, a non-denominational church in Mobile, Alabama, and we had been to churches our whole life where you go, you sit down, you daydream till it's over, and you leave, you don't know anybody. We walked in the door, and they lined up to tell us, welcome home. That was the words they used. Welcome home. They walked up, and they hugged corporate, and Terry, my wife. And from that moment on, it was just all about the Holy Spirit helping people, bringing them out of addiction, out of depression. And we see these miracles every time we go to that church. We see people come up and give their life to God, which is not a boring, tedious thing. He wants us to throw down and have fun and thank Him. You know, our motto at our church is love people where they are, let God get them to where He wants them to be. So that's what it's about. It's, you know, so many churches are rule-oriented. You're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. And this church is, man, come be a part of it. We love you. Come get some of it.
It has been amazing to watch you and your wife on your spiritual journey over the past several years.
Dude, it's been awesome. Dude, I love you, man. Yeah,
check him out,
buddy.
Killer Beaz, ain't none better, period. He's at the Comedy Catch this weekend, starting tonight at 7 o'clock. Tickets available at thecomedycatch.com.